Hey everybody, thought that we'd do kind of a quicker one here. I was thinking of maybe doing another series other than the shallow dives, where the shallow dives tend to be more fact-based. These would be kind of more speculation on my part, and while I do speculation in the shallow dives, kind of on where I think things are, what they're working on, or where they are in a project, I don't speculate on what they're actually doing themselves. I was thinking of maybe doing another little program here while I'm waiting on my Banu Defender to spawn here, that I'd call, I don't know, I'm thinking like thoughts or musings. Musings might be better, where I just kind of talk about what I think's going on in the game right now. Anyway, I don't really have a huge plan for today other than flying around. Kind of wanted to go do the Hurston bunker missions. And one of the main reasons was because I got into a discussion on Reddit, which honestly is bad a reputation as Reddit has. I've found it's far less toxic than Spectrum is. And honestly, Spectrum isn't that bad. There's really just 4 people on there that just see themselves as gatekeepers, and they make it toxic for everyone else. So Spectrum isn't bad if you can avoid those 4 people. It's just impossible to avoid them since they see their job as gatekeepers. Anyway, there's amusing for you. Anyway, so in the Inside Starses in the ISC this Thursday, they talked about 2 things. They're kind of causing, I wouldn't call it an uproar, just causing a little bit of drama in the community among the PvEers. So there's kind of 2 groups. I'm going to move into a little bit quieter section of the station here that I have the volume turned down for you guys, but for me it's deafening and distracting, so I'm going to go over here. So the general thought is there's kind of, and this is true with any massively multiplayer game, you're going to have the people that kind of want to just play basically a single player game where they have the option of interacting with other people on their terms when they want to. So they basically want to play Skyrim, and when they want to pull in a friend to play with them, then that's what'll happen. And you have another group, actually I guess there's 3 groups, but the second group is kind of, I'm here to play with other people, and that is where I get my enjoyment. That the game, we'll head over this side over here, it's a loud corner, they get their enjoyment from testing their own skills against other people, and that's PvP. So they're not just, their idea of a fun time is testing their skills against other people, basically, like I just said. So they will go out there and, you know, try to trade better than other people, mine better than other people, and yeah, attack other people and test their first-person shooter skills or their combat skills. The problem is, in a game like Star Citizen, there's not really a difference. Even your little, I mean, even the motorcycles in this game have guns on them, and there's a reason for that. I mean, there's a reason why my dude is walking around with 2 guns strapped on his back and 1 on his hip, and a med gun and a utility gun, because this is a violent universe that CIG has created. So I'm not under any illusions. Ooh, I found a quiet place. I'm not under any illusions about this game, and a little bit about my history is I used to be world ranked back a long time before there was e-games and all of that, esports and all that. So, I mean, nothing you would have heard of, like joint operations and Delta Force and stuff like that. But, I mean, I've been playing PvP games since there was Twisted Pairs and Doom, or Doom 2. So I have a lot of experience in PvP games, and one of the things that attracted me to Star Citizen was the fact that it was actually combat was less of a focus. While it was a part of the game, it wasn't the focus of the game. There were jobs and game loops that were specifically non-combat. Like, I want to be a trader in this game, but I'm not under any illusions. When I'm flying around in a Banu Merchantman, that thing is a giant loot pinata. If I'm flying around in a Banu Merchantman by myself, that ship is a juicy target for anyone that wants to come and raid it. And that's NPC and player. And if a player attacks me and I'm the only person in that ship, that's my fault. That's not theirs. Because they have tools in the game right now where you can come down here, go to Contracts Manager, they'll register the click. Uh-oh. Gonna make a liar out of me? I was doing this yesterday. Not sure what that's about. So typically, when it's reading your button clicks, is it sitting on something? No. Anyway. When it's reading your clicks, you can create a beacon right here. You can select the beacon type, and you can say personal transport, but you can say escort. And so you could say, I want someone to escort me between here and there. And someone else can take that job and do that. That's in the game right now. You can hire someone to be your wingman in the game right now. So if you're out there running cargo missions and someone blows you up, don't get mad about it. You could have hired someone to protect you the whole time. And also, if you're just logging out and you're upset that you lost a bunch of money, try reaching out to those guys. 9 times out of 10, don't shut off chat, because they will be trying to talk to you and they'll say, give me 100,000 and I won't blow up your ship. And you might have 1 million riding on that cargo. 100,000 is well worth that. That's 10%. Hell yes, you take that swing, and next time you bring a wingman who can at least distract them while you escape. I mean, no harm to the wingman, that's what they're there for. So, or you can grab a couple of friends and put them in the turrets. That's not an option for everyone. Like right now, I'm trying to build up an org specifically for that reason. The problem is that the game loops in the game right now aren't really conducive to someone sitting in a chair that isn't the pilot chair for hours at a time. I mean, you can do it for a one-off, but it's not particularly fun for the game as it is right now. I think my Banu Defender should be up by now, so let's go on to the next thing. So that's kind of the introduction, sort of the quick and dirty 10-minute view of how I see PvP in this game. I think it's a necessary part of the game, and even as a trader, what will make this different is kind of testing my skills as a trader and a negotiator against other people that want to be traders, but also other people that may want to engage me. Like, how do I discourage them from attacking me and turn them into someone that'll buy my stuff? And that's what the idea for the carnival, which I'm going to be doing a show about pretty soon. That's the whole concept behind that org, is kind of a neutral org that's interested in trade and industrial, but kind of trades on the gray side of the law. So let's go ahead and call it my defender here. So with that in mind, let's go into a little bit of the history of the game.
ASOP vehicle retrieval system.
Banu Defender should be up. I need to melt so many ships right now, it's not even funny. I want to get a Kraken as part of that plan.
Vehicle selected. Stand by.
And I've got enough tiny ships that I can do it.
To the following location. Please visit us.
So off to Hangar 2. And hopefully this is the right one. I think I mentioned it before, but when you have a Banu Merchantman, you get a defender as a loner. So one Hangar 2. One Banu Defender is all kitted out and fully upgraded, and the other one I haven't touched at all, so be able to tell real quickly which one it is. I put a different skin on it, so it's obvious. Yeah, this is the upgrade one. I've got it with the platinum skin, which I kind of like. I like that one and the snow skin, the white and sort of gray one. This one's kind of the opposite of that. See, I've got the DBs, the Maxon size 3s or 4s. I think they're size 3s. It's just kind of a cool skin. But anyway, so ISC this week was talking about two things. And the first thing they were talking about was SPK, which is Security Post Kareah, which is around, I think it's around Selin. We'll go swing by it real quick. It's restricted airspace, so if you stick around it too long, you get a crime stat, which I don't want today because I'm going to take a couple lawful missions. So let's swing by and look at it. There we go. There are a bunch of people around Grim Hex right now. You can see the red markers on there. So speaking of PvP, good chance somebody tries to engage us in some. I'm gonna let my shields build up here, so I'll just kind of keep talking about this. So back in the day, Security Post Kareah, which everybody calls SPK, so if you see that acronym, that's what they're talking about. It used to be one of the few PvP sites in the verse, so you would... Let me see where these guys actually are. Power that up. So you can look over here. I'm popping up decoys, so I'm putting up 3 of them just so we're good to go. Looks like my shields are fully up. We're gonna pop over to Selin, so I'm gonna set that now. Let me double check and make sure Selin's SPK. I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, so there's Security Post Kareah right there. So we'll just pop over there and kind of take a look at it. Well, let's get going. I'll kind of talk about it on the way. If you see me go silent here because this dude in red, where is he? Keeps disappearing. I'm wondering if that is a glitch. Kind of hard to say. Oh, he's in another hangar. Okay, so this is a good time to bug out. Just like I said, I don't, from years of PvP, I can do it, but the reason that I'm playing Star Citizen is because I have kind of filled that card in the last 30 odd years of gaming, and I just want to play a different style. I figure I can hire people either who are younger or have that more as the focus of their gameplay. Like, that's why they're playing this game. And then I can focus on things that aren't combat. And I mean, I can engage in it when I have to, but I'm not obligated to. So pop out here is Selin. So back in the day, back before they had Planet Tech in, which I'm trying to remember when they first put in the verse. I think it was like 2.0 was when they had version 1.0 of the verse, where they actually got it out of the hangar module. Because it used to be you could only, the only access you had to your ships, and this is one of the reasons why the PTV is cool, the little buggy, was because it used to be the only ship in the game that you could actually fly around in. All of your ships were just static models in a hangar. And so some people had so many ships that these hangars would be gigantic. They had them sort of well, not instance, but they'd have sort of modules. So you'd have a hangar with a ship in it attached to a hangar with a ship in it attached to a hangar with a ship in it, and they'd be connected by like a doorway or something like that. And you could get in your PTV, your little buggy, this little golf cart, and drive from one hangar to the other, to the other, to the other. And they kind of made a game that was sort of similar to the sort of Mario Kart racetrack that they had, where you could actually They had little jumps and stuff like that, I seem to remember. But the first version of the verse, where they actually had this, where you could fly around, moons like Kareah here, you couldn't land on them. They had a kill box around them. They were basically just a sphere with a texture on it, and then they surrounded that with another sphere that if you entered that sphere, your ship would blow up and you die. Or if you tried to go EVA, you'd hit the kill box and you die and you respawn at Port Olisar. And back in those days, you could only spawn at Port Olisar and Grimhex, and the entire verse was this right here. So it was these 3 moons. Crusader was, again, just a giant kill box. You had Port Olisar, you had Security Post Kareah, you had around Daymar, you still had Kovalex Gundo, and around Yela they did put in Grimhex, but it wasn't on a map marker. If you basically got a criminal stat, then when you died you would spawn at Grimhex. Otherwise you couldn't find Grimhex on the map. You had to know where to go to land there. And in between they'd have these hang on, we just got company. Not sure who that was, but we're not going to sit around here. So I'll show you Kareah. But one of the places you could go that had an interior that you could fight in was Kareah. You could go to Grimhex, and I'm not sure if this will fire at us or not, but I don't want to tempt it. You could go to Grimhex and you couldn't shoot in Grimhex. It had an armistice zone on it, but the pads were open season and you had to spawn your ship on the pads. So people would sit out on the pads with sniper rifles and blow you away because there was no reason not to. And occasionally someone would spawn at Olisar, and since Grimhex was the criminal location, they'd just blow up any ship that spawned. And if you... Okay, we're bailing. Oh, we're not bailing. Alright, we're just gonna speed up here. So my goal today is to go to Hurston, so I'll do the rest of this chat here. It's a Valkyrie. Interesting. I wonder if that's Navy. Oh, here's another one out here too. Well, we'll get out of here. But give us a second to cycle up. So effectively what would happen is if you wanted to do PvP, you go to SPK. There wasn't anything to do there. You couldn't clear your criminal stat. They didn't. I don't even think they really had. They had crime stats. I don't know if you could actually clear it back in those days, like up to 2.5. I think that might have come with 2.6. But anyway, it was where you wanted to go if you wanted to do FPS, because you couldn't land on the moons or anything. The only place you could run around in person and shoot at people was SPK. So all of the PvPers would go to SPK and fight around that station or fight in it on foot. So what it was a PvP magnet. And so I think what CIG is trying to do is kind of bring that back, which I'm okay with. What it does right now, if people are into PvP, there's not really a place you can go where you're guaranteed PvP. So what those people are doing is just hanging out where people will generally have to go, and the only thing that you can guarantee with that is traders will generally be going to like the hot points, the hot trade points, and buying goods. So basically their PvP testing their skills against dogfighters is blowing up caterpillars full of cargo. Not really much of a test, and it's not really fun for them either. I mean, they get to hear someone whine and cry and chat, but if they're sociopathic, so who cares? What they really want to do is get in a fight with someone else who gives them a good run for their money, who actually tests their skills. So that's the way that it was for a long time. And I think that CIG is kind of trying to recapture that, where they're trying to make a place where the PvPers can go where they're guaranteed PvP. So people are going to start, all the PvP players are going to start migrating to Security Post Kareah, SPK, because they're going to be guaranteed to bump into other people who are all like, I'll fight someone, I want to clear my crime stat. And then they're just going to go and fight there. And so the other piece that CIG worked on was criminality and making prison gameplay more interesting. And at a certain point here, I'll break off and kind of talk. I did a post when Hurston first dropped in 2019. I made a game suggestions post where I was all like, you know, Hurston would be a great place for a debtor's prison. You know, people that couldn't pay off their debts. Was kind of an 1800s thing, I think, or 1700s thing. But anyway, basically illegal to be poor. And I was like, Hurston would definitely be the kind of place that would have that. And this is the way that you can make prison gameplay interesting. And then we're pulling up on Hurston. You can kind of see it there. Oh, I don't need that. And I'll break away right here and talk about that post. Okay, so here's the idea that I had, which was April 16th of 2019. I think they dropped the prison in 2020. It might have been later in 2019. But I had kind of been chewing on this idea for a little while. It was basically the idea of a debtor's prison. So you'd have a bunch of people. I basically say it here that this would be a large, well-protected building or a network of buildings that would likely be relatively isolated. So you can kind of see, I doubt CIG read my game idea and just said, let's do that. I'm not under the illusion that CIG is hanging on my every word. I think it's more that CIG and I have similar ideas on game design, and we know that stuff like this would be kind of fun if implemented correctly, and you use it as a in-game consequence for criminal behavior or antisocial behavior, which you need, because in a game like this, a massively multiplayer game, you need to have things that are penalties for people being antisocial but not actually breaking the game. So not actually griefing, they're playing the game it's intended to be, but if they're doing things that would be criminal, like in-game criminal, they actually pay a consequence for it. And that was the idea behind prison. That was my idea behind prison too. My idea was a little bit different from theirs. I didn't have the cave mining. I don't think that was really out yet when I wrote this. But the idea was that you'd have low sec, and these are people that would be paying off fines, like their fines hit too much level. NPC wise, especially on Hurston, it would be people that took their loan and then didn't pay it off to Hurston's satisfaction. So they put them in prison. High sec would be you're violent. You're shooting people or killing people or blowing up ships. You'd end up in high sec. So you'd have two levels here. So you go to prison. In low sec, you would not likely to be shivved, or people wouldn't be killing you for your minables. In high sec, totally possible. I came up with a couple mission givers. Again, this is probably something that now, with them rolling out Pyro and Nix and other systems, probably a little bit too much time to spend on one system. Like, you wouldn't want all of this stuff in Hurston then, or in Stanton, and then not have it in Pyro or other systems that are coming up. But I was saying that you could start with Hurston Dynamics cousin or some site, basically the warden, and then you'd have two gang leaders. So you kind of have this triangle that you could work with of people that you could take jobs from. And it seems like they're actually kind of moving this direction now, where somewhere deep down in the mines you'll have some sort of comm link that you can get missions inside, illicit missions inside the prison, which I kind of had the same idea. I had 7 different ways that you could work to get out of prison. So the first one was just pay your debt. So you take jobs inside the prison, and each time you take a job, it would cut down on the time served. So basically good behavior. You'd get good behavior credit. CIG kind of implemented something similar where you mine or you run down and you turn on the O2 mission, which I'm going to be showing you when we do the prison gameplay. So you could reduce your time by doing jobs inside the prison for the prison. Second one would just be serving your time. So you just sort of say, screw it, I've got a week of real time that I'm going to be in here. I don't want to play in the prison, so I'm just going to take the week off, which isn't great gameplay. Hopefully you make prison interesting enough that people would want to play or continue to play while they're in prison. Anyway, option 3 was escape. And so there would be ways that you could escape. In my brain, I had it that you'd be crawling through like vents. So it would be like Escape from Alcatraz, the old Clint Eastwood movie. I wasn't thinking about a bunch of cave jump puzzles, which I think is kind of cool. A lot of people don't enjoy prison gameplay. I get that. Busted Out, I had the option that somebody wanted to come in gangbusters with like a Valkyrie or something and like 20 people. They could totally go bunker mission, kill all the guards, and literally bust you out. But that would, Hurston would be responding pretty quickly. It had AA guns on the prison itself because they're not idiots. So you would have a really hard time doing that, and your criminal stats would go way up. Working for the man, so there you would take jobs from the warden to work against the 2 gang leaders. So this would be lawful. Your crime stat wouldn't go up any, and that would be kind of like paying your debt. It would reduce your time. Working for the prison gang leaders, you could either find a way to escape easier, like they'd give you a way to get out, or they would give you contacts on the outside. So you can conceivably make contacts with the Nine Tails and build up a rep for them while you were in prison. And then down here, I just have the goal would be to make prison, or being in prison, have another game loop. As opposed to being put on hold for X amount of time or having 0 consequence for criminal player at all, they relog and are fine with it while their doppelganger goes off to prison, which means no consequence. Basically, if you're a griefer or even a PvPer that just likes to force people into PvP, which is part of the game loop, but is antisocial or criminal, then this is, you don't have a free ticket to do it. You can't just say, I opt out, and you could jump back into your body and then you can go back to blowing people up and just rinse and recycle. There's no consequences for those actions. There has to be consequences for those actions. The problem is that right now prison gameplay is buggy, and the sort of equivalent that CIG did for these 3 options of paying your debt, serving your time, and escape are bugged. So you can't get out early. So if you, not only can you not get out early, but you can get a criminal stat that sends you to prison that probably isn't worthy of sending you to prison. Like you should be getting a fine. Instead, it's sending you to prison. So my intention here was never someone bumps the station blows them up, and they wake up in Hurston. Anyway, that was kind of my idea for prison gameplay. Back to the show. And we're back. You see, you didn't miss anything. We're still pulling in on Hurston. So with that in mind, what they dropped when I had originally made that suggestion, I meant when Star Citizen is in a state where it can actually handle that, but they had just rolled out crime stats and stuff like that, and I can kind of get their reasoning behind when they rolled out the prisons when they did. griefing, like actual griefing, people pad ramming and blowing up people on the pads, was a problem. And the fact that people could do it with impunity was a problem. The problem is their crime system. They rolled it out sort of, I wouldn't say half thought out. I mean, we're in an alpha project. Everything is half created at this point. But the sort of end result was, and I'm far enough away now that I can kind of slow down and give myself a chance to think. Ooh, I'm in the atmosphere already? The problem is that the crime stat should have been low-level crimes, things like bumping someone or, you know, like broken windows crimes. They should have had it that you get fines to a certain point and then you go to prison. Like if you assault someone, if you blow up their ship, if you kill them in PvP, if you either by blowing up their ship with them in it, with them out of it, anything like that. There was somebody on, I made this suggestion on Spectrum, and one of the usual gatekeepers showed up, and I actually engaged him, but his point was you can blow out someone's thrusters and strand them there. And it's an argument, but I have engaged in a lot of PvP in this game, fighting with my banded defender and arrows and gladiuses and stuff like that. I have never had my thrusters blown out before my ship was destroyed. It will happen eventually. Time to destroy will be time to disable. So eventually what will happen, maybe not with the smaller ships, Banu Defender here might be on the edge, but eventually what will happen is your ship will just stop working because it takes so much damage, and then people can board your ship or whatever. With the smaller ships, they'll probably explode at a certain point, but that's the end goal that they're kind of looking for. There we go. But the idea that I was thinking of is for anything like broken windows crimes, you just get a fine. And maybe if your fine hits something like 100,000 space bucks or something like that, then the bounty hunters are like, you know something, you're committing a lot of these crimes. It's now ranked up. We're taking you to prison, dead or alive, kind of a thing. I mean, it is a violent verse. So I mean, at that point, you'd go to prison. Just, you have all of these fines. It's like, hey, you didn't pay them, you're under arrest. But I mean, for the majority of people, especially for new players, you can get crime stats like you're just flying by a comsat. I've gotten I was just using it as a nav point because the nav system is goofy, and I flew too close to a comstat, wasn't paying attention. I got crime stat for that. And new players, I mean, I knew why I got a crime stat. I knew I had one because I know what to look for. New players don't have that context, and so all of a sudden this new player is just getting blown up by stations and stuff. That's not a fun experience. And then they end up in prison, which is a buggy experience on its own. And I was thinking of doing, probably on the next Musings, when I kind of go into more of prison gameplay and where it's at and what to do in prison, I'll have more to say on that. But if you're a new player and you end up in prison, even after 3.18, when they roll out all these new things, it's punitive. And I mean, it's supposed to be punitive. That is the point of the prison in this game, is that you're a PvPer, you can play your style, but if you're blowing people up all over the place that don't have crime stats, then you're a criminal, and this is the cost for your actions. There's an in-game cost for being an asshole, which is the way to handle it. And then if somebody is actually griefing, like stream sniping or pad ramming, or, you know, using the game to annoy other people, which I've had that discussion before too, of the difference between marauding and pirating and griefing. There's a huge difference. Like, the first two are playing the game. The third one is not. And I'll probably do another one on that one now that I've gotten a little bit better at editing. Do kind of a shallow dive on what I think of PvP and where those three things fall in. Because some people call griefing PvP and it isn't. Some people call PvP griefing and it isn't. But anyway, that's kind of my general thoughts on it, is that you need to acknowledge that PvP is a thing in this game, and it will be a thing in this game, and it's a planned part of this game. You can either embrace that, or you can be endlessly disappointed by this game. Now, granted, the people that were complaining about PvP, or not necessarily PvP, the people that were complaining about SPK, which is the easiest place to go and clear your crime stat, and having that be the only place you could clear your crime stat, they were arguing that the problem there is that if that becomes the only place you can clear your crime stat, other than going to prison, forcing new players into PvP in a game where they haven't learned all the mechanics and they haven't learned how to PvP, probably not the best experience for a brand new player. I mean, if you've never played Battlefield before and you jump into a Battlefield game and you just get absolutely smoked, that's the point of Battlefield. That isn't the point of Star Citizen. People aren't jumping into this game just to get fucking mauled. But here we are. That is exactly what will happen to you if you go to SPK. There will be a combination of new players saying, oh damn, where do I've got this crime stat, what the hell do I do? People will be like, go to SPK. And the second somebody says that in chat, all of those PvPers will be like, what? Something's happening in SPK, let's go. And they'll show up there, and that new player's gonna be having a prison gameplay experience real fast, and that's not overly fun. So I don't want to engage in both sidesism here, but I do kind of understand both sides. You need that PvP magnet, but you also need to keep in mind that new players will be making mistakes that will be giving them minor crime stats. And I think the way CIG solves that is by having kind of a grace area where minor crimes like bumping into things or landing too hard or parking violations, things like that, all of that should just be fines. All of it should be bumping other ships, not ramming other ships. Like if you do enough damage to another ship, like have some sort of threshold, but blowing people up, killing other people, injuring other people, those kinds of things should land you in prison. Anything else should be a fine up to a point, say 500K, then you go to prison, or then you have a bounty put out on you. Because I mean, at that point, if you're getting $500 to $1,000 worth of fines, you're no longer just a new player that doesn't know how to fly. You kind of need to learn how to fly, or you're specifically doing things to be obnoxious. It's kind of my 2 cents. So for the second part of this, I had a couple people asking about the Elite armor. Let's see. So we don't have any right now. Let's check this. Call to arms. So we'll take call to arms. Talking about the Elite Hurston armor, which I don't know. Oh, actually, we can just pop out of our chair. I'll show it to you. So the Elite Hurston armor, had a few people asking me about it, how I got it. And I kind of mentioned it in passing, but I thought for the second half of this, we'd go ahead and I'd actually do a walkthrough of how I got it. So you can sort of see that my, whoops, didn't do that on purpose. You can sort of see that my helmet there is the Elite Hurston armor, so you can tell it's red, not blue. I was going to show you how to get that. So let's see. Permit, low risk, not that one. Entrenched. So these are the ones, I think people are taking this one, and this is not the one that you want. So what this one is you're going to go in, you're going to clear a bunker of bad guys. It's a bad guy bunker. They've taken over the bunker. You're killing everybody in there. So that is not the one you're looking for. So what you are looking for, not that one. I'm not actually seeing it in the list here. So we will fly around for a little bit until it pops up. So hang tight. We'll be back when the mission appears. So one other thing that I wanted to talk about, basically this is aerial right here. I'm just kind of cruising along the moons. Sometimes if you go to the moons, you can get a bunker mission, which is what I'm looking for. Another thing that I wanted to talk about was reputation. So one of the things that I was doing in an earlier playthrough was building up my rep with Redwind, and you can see that right now I'm a runner and I'm almost entirely full on runner. But you can tell my affinity, which was up here. One of the things that I was running a test was they have a degradation of their affinity to you. And so the longer you go without doing anything with them, even if you're up here, it'll just gradually drop. And I kind of wanted to see how quickly that dropped. And the answer is pretty damn quickly. It kind of falls into the same category as water right now. Like your water levels drop really fast. Like you can see right down here, this is 68%. It was 100% when we started. So your water levels and your rep are dropping too fast, in my opinion. And that's something CIG is going to dial in eventually. So I'm not too worried about it, but just if you're trying to build up a rep with anyone, you want this affinity to be high for them to give you the cool jobs. It turns out that right now, let's go over here. Yeah, so you can sort of see this grab and go, but I'm not getting those special Redwind delivery missions anymore. So this one's a 45k one, which isn't bad, but I'm not getting those illicit missions anymore. And the reason I'm not getting the illicit missions is because my affinity dropped. So once your affinity gets to about 2 or 3 bars at them, that's when they start saying, hey, you know something, you want a slightly shadier position with us? And then you get it. But the thing is that each time your affinity drops like that, you have to go back and you have to run these missions until you build up enough affinity with them. They start giving you those missions again. And at the moment, they're not really paying enough to make that worthwhile. So that is, just wanted to have a quick point about that, because that was kind of one of the focuses of my gameplay for 3.17.2 was to sort of build up my rep with Redwind, and that was the end result, was that your affinity drops so fast that unless the only thing you are doing is running Redwind missions, you're not going to be able to maintain the affinity level to keep those illicit missions going, at least not at the moment. So let's go ahead and check the missions here. So what we're looking for is base defense. Rarely it pops up in personal, but personal is usually the bad guy missions. And these can be kind of fun, and they pay 18,000. So if you're ever out of money and you just need enough money to buy a gun and buy some ammo and buy some armor, run the investigation missions. There are some issues at the moment surrounding some of the wreck sites on the ground where the geometry is goofy and you can fall through the planet. So heads up on that. It can be obnoxious, but they pay decent. So you can see that one's 4,000. Okay, well, it made a liar on me. Usually you can make like 18k. What you do is you can string a couple of them together. There'll be ones that are we're missing a black box and find all the crew, and find all the crew is like 18 and find the black box is like 20, and you string those together, you make decent money relatively quick without a lot of issues. Just something to keep in mind. And this thing might make a liar out of me today. Like, I am not seeing it. Gonna run a quick bounty mission here. Hopefully I didn't read that. Lately it's been throwing me. Damn. Okay. Yeah, so I didn't look at this beforehand, but this is at ArcCorp and on well, hang on. ArcCorp Processing Center on Walla. Okay, I'm pretty sure Walla is a moon around ArcCorp and not. Yeah. So I didn't pay attention on that one. That's on me. So I'm going to go to ArcCorp real fast and come back. What the hell? I'll bring you in for the fight here if I win. If I don't, just assume I won and I totally didn't cut because I got my butt kicked by an NPC. See you in a couple. Okay, so we just hit ArcCorp. One of the things I'm going to do while I'm here is I just want to see if they have the type of mission that I'm looking for, just so that I can give you an idea. Yeah, I'm not seeing it here. This is a pretty full server, so we might not actually get it today, in which case I'll just do it another time where it's a little more focused. Again, Musings. Welcome. It's a little more raw. Okay, so we just made it to Walla. This is where Bradley is. So I used to do a lot of these bounty missions. I'm going to pop up to this one real quick and then jump back at it. I have spent a lot of time in this game trading and just kind of needed a change of pace, so I decided to see how long it would take me to get bounty missions. Be a little bit careful when you have a bounty on a dark side of a moon like this, because it can be real easy to spike yourself into the planet. So I tend to try to attack from as high an angle of attack as possible. But a lot like the Redwind mission, the reputation was degrading, and not degrading as in not the way that the Redwind was, but in between patches, each time they'd roll out a new patch, it would reset you back to the bottom, and you'd get, hang on one second, so watch my decoys there. See, I kicked that up to 3 because humans and AI always launch a missile at you first, so it just gets out of the way first. If you have 3 of them going off, typically you won't get nailed by it. But anyway, each patch you'd have to start from scratch again. It would maintain your overall reputation, so I'll kind of show you what I mean by coming on the dark side. So you can sort of see that we're coming up on the ground not slow. So here he comes. There he is. That is not our dude. So we're gonna get our dude. He's in a saber, which are kind of obnoxious to fight against. They're not particularly tough, but okay, what do we got here? Come on. Where's Bradley? There he is.
Missile locked.
Let's throw a couple
Son
in.
of a bitch. Target destroyed.
Got him.
Attack on shields.
Ooh, he actually hit me.
Eat this.
Oh, I will eat that, sir. Oh, still got missiles on. But anyway, so you get into these things, and you wouldn't necessarily have to start from scratch, but who's he in? No, he's just in a saber. Okay, so this is the same guy I was looking at before. Am I missing him? I think I'm missing him. Hang on.
Son of a bitch.
Hurts, doesn't it? How you like it? So you wouldn't necessarily need to start from scratch. It would keep in mind what your, was this guy in first? A stalker? Oh, you poor bastard. It would keep in mind what your stat was.
Target destroyed.
But, so if you were extremely high-risk targets and stuff like that, it would keep in mind that you had reached that level before, but you would still have to go through and do at least one mission of, man, that was disjointed. So you have to do these bounty hunter evaluation things, which, oh, okay, so that's a different one, but like contract evaluation, I'm trying to find now, it's making a license. Okay, so here we go. So license certification. So you have to pay for these. You don't get paid to do them, you have to pay to do them. So you basically have to pay 500, 1,000, 2,500, then I think it's like 5,000, I think it's like 15,000 or something like that to unlock those levels. So it'll remember that in the past you had unlocked this certain level and you'd only have to do one mission, whereas before you'd have to unlock this and then do like 5 to 10 of the medium missions before you could unlock the high risk missions, and then you'd have to do 5 to 10 of those before you could do that. If you had unlocked them before, it would remember you had unlocked them before, and you'd only have to do one, then it would unlock the next, then it would unlock next. So you wouldn't have to have quite the same level of grind, but it was still obnoxious that you basically have to start from scratch over and over again. And I mean, it wasn't completely from scratch. Hang on, I'm gonna go get gas real quick. Actually, we'll do it here. Because it would largely remember where you were at in that ladder, but not entirely. And so about the third time I had to go through that ladder, I'll do it to pass the time now, but and it is a good way to make money, especially if you want to get better at flying and combat like stuff, like that kind of stuff. You're flying against NPCs and they can sometimes be derpy. You get on a fresh server, it can be a little challenging, not as challenging as flying against a person typically. But you want to just up your skills. It's good for that. It's good for making money in a patch once you hit the higher levels. But otherwise, I mean, I kind of filled that square and it kind of sharpened up my PvP skills a little bit. But it's, again, not where my interest in this game lies. So, kind of my 2 cents on the bounty missions. You want to get better at flying, you want to get better at combat. Never a bad idea to get at least learn the basics of flight combat in this game. It's good for that. If you see that as being your career, if you are a PvP player, they're a good way to sort of cut your teeth and then gradually work your way up to hunting the players. Good way to do that. They're fun, but I just got annoyed because I had to reclimb the ladder each time, even though you only have to do one mission as opposed to 40. Yeah, just kind of my thought on that. So this is something that I've noticed. So you'll see how there's a diamond in the square there. So what it's doing is it's giving me a location around the station. It's not actually giving me the location. If I click on this and go in, so there's that ARC L1. This is actually the station. So if I were to jump to it without selecting the station, it would put me about 20k away from the station, which it's a long flight. This way it brings me right to it, so life hack. So I'm just gonna fuel up here. I'm gonna fly back to Hurston, see if we've got that job. If not, I'm gonna assume that other people are grabbing that job. Like I said, this is kind of a full server dropping on a Saturday. especially around the afternoon. Usually it is the case, so not a lot of bunker missions. Bunker missions are the best place to go right now if you want to loot and get the cool guns. So I'll go ahead and refuel here and see you back at Hurston. Just listening for the doors. There we go. Should be good. Ignore the collision alert. And off we go to Hurston. Okay, so we're back in Hurston. Let's go ahead and check and see what missions are here. This might be this might be a short day if I can't find one of these. Well, I guess not necessarily a short episode, but let's see. Utopia on Yela. So this is something that in theory they fixed a couple patches back. Where the missions you're getting here should be local to where you are. So this one is giving me a mission to Yela. I'm around Hurston. If I were in something that wasn't a Banu Defender or a Vanguard, that's like 2 or 3 jumps around the system to get to Yela, and I'd have to fuel up at each one. It just isn't worth it. So that's not fixed yet. But anyway, let's go down the list here. I think it might be mercenary assist defending a site. Okay, so this is it. The security personnel at HDSF Tompkins is being threatened by a local criminal element in Hurston Security. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for it to be on Hurston Planet, and you're looking at it to be assist in defending the site. So let's go ahead and go there, and we'll land, and I'll see you there. So I brought you back a little bit earlier because this is pretty. I mean, just look at that. It is a super pretty game. There's a reason why I've been playing this thing since, like, I think 2.3 was where I originally came in. So for a long time, talking about my PvP experiences, I think I dropped money on the Kickstarter and realized it kind of had a prove it to me moment. And around the same time, MechWarrior Online was rolling out, which I was a big BattleTech fan when I was younger. And I'll kind of get into one of those in another episode. But I wouldn't have played MechWarrior Online effectively until Star Citizen could prove they could make the game they had promised, because I was real skeptical. I actually tried to make this game before, which is another episode. Not specifically Star Citizen, but a game that was extremely similar in some of the elements, which is one of the reasons why I feel like I can talk about some of this stuff with some expertise of what CIG is going through. One of the reasons why I have all of these ideas is because I sort of had to think my own way through these ideas back in 1995 to 99. So I kind of know some of the thought processes they're going through, and they've kind of solved things that obviously I didn't, with Chris Roberts being an actual game developer and me not being. But anyway, I ended up playing MechWarrior Online was one of the games that I played until Star Citizen kind of hit a prove it level, and I've been playing it ever since. Basically, the second they got it out of the hangar module was when I came over and played Star Citizen. It doesn't mean that I don't play any other game, which, as evidenced by my Cyberpunk playthroughs, but this is the game that I have wanted to play since Wing Commander came out, so I'm glad they finally made it. So here we go, coming up on Tompkins here. Tompkins is one of the good ones. I've had a lot of luck here. Now the trick is doing this without getting a crime stat. So you can see there's a turret there, there's a turret there, there's a turret there. There's usually 4. There's usually one on... Huh. It's interesting that there's only 3 on this. So if you think you're going to get a crime stat, park yourself. That building isn't high enough. The junk doesn't always have clipping, so the ship or the turrets can shoot through it. So if you think you're going to get a crime stat, if you just want to come in here and go gangbusters to get this suit, then definitely either have a friend drop you off and then come back and grab you out in the wild somewhere, or make sure you park somewhere where the turrets can't hit you. And that is at Tompkins. I've been here before. It's a little tricky. There's kind of a hill. I'll show you while I have the scale. You can sort of see that hill over there. You can get behind that. So advantage being on Hurston is that you're not going to run out of oxygen. The downside is that you're still like 5 kilometers away or so. Let's see if I take damage walking down the ramp. That's good. Did not. Again, I always shut my door. Just these bunkers can often have more than one mission running at one time. So, let's go ahead and put some clips in. Cool. So I'm kind of outfitted the way that I want to be. See, somebody dropped a clip here, so people have been running this mission today. Leave your ship running. Just the shields might buy you a few seconds, but again, if you're going to do this and get a crime stat, just park yourself. If you park behind that thing, you might be okay. I think those actually have clipping planes, but you can sort of see the garbage like these things. I think the turrets can just shoot straight through them, so you're not safe. Easiest way to do it is the way that I'm going to do it. You'll notice that I'm taking my time going in right now. That isn't just me babbling. That's actually a strategy. The longer you give the hostiles to kill the locals, the better the chance that the elite guard dies and you don't have to kill him. So he will probably be... not that guy. That guy's on the 2nd level. It'll be one of the guys on the lower level. And I'm not seeing him spawn in. So, thank you. Okay, so I'm going to kind of concentrate here for just a second, just to kind of see what the lay of the land is. So where the Hurston elite guy will spawn, if he's spawning in, is right here. And you can have bunkers where you'll be coming in from that side. He'll still spawn right there. I am not seeing him here, which isn't a great sign. Might mean that they're not spawning at all. I can hear shooting and yelling. Not seeing any bad guys. But what can happen is the elite guy will spawn right here and he'll kind of be looking off this direction, just kind of off that way. And if the bad guys, the Ninetails, spawn through this door, through this monster closet, they can come through and shoot him down before he can take them out with his light machine gun, which is nice, because if he's dead, you don't need to kill him. You can just grab his body, throw it on the elevator, and then you get that armor for free. You don't have to kill anyone, which is kind of nice. Best way to run this mission. So there's only 2 guys left, so there are definitely bad guys spawning here. So I'm going to be a little more focused here for a sec. Don't like the sound of that. Somebody's... Just want to make sure, Don. So one of the things that can happen is there'll be a guy up here, and you'll hear him talking. It sounds like he's right behind you. Kind of a problem. Okay, so that guy's dead. There's a custodian. So they've already killed 4 of the hostiles, which isn't bad. So, whoop, I saw that.
What the hell was that?
Thankfully, they're a little derpy. Again, I say this a few times. Always take call to arms. Oh, I heard you. I saw that. Come on, poke your head up. Wait for it. Oh, there went another guy. God, there's a couple guys hiding down there. Oops, I did not sweep nearly as well as I should have. Switch to shorter range here. They killed him. I think there's still a guy right around these boxes. Yep, see him.
With the wrong people.
Did I? Always double tap. Okay. So Hurston guard. So we might not lucky out here, which is fine. You won't every single time. There are 2 bad guys left. It spawned a hell of a lot of them down here, which sometimes you'll get it that the elite guy will run down here and die, but if you don't see him when you come into the bunker, chances are pretty good he didn't spawn, which looks like it's the case here. But yeah, he would be right there. So let's go ahead and pop the rest of these guys. We'll look upstairs. There's always a chance he spawns upstairs. Very low chance. Whoa, is there? That's interesting. I never knew there was holes right there. Like right there. And Star Citizen is a game where those aren't just texture, so you can't actually shoot through them, you can just see through them. If you can see through it, you can shoot through it. Like right there, I'm hitting that wall behind, I'm not hitting this. It doesn't have a no-clip texture built into the wall, so just something to keep in mind with this game, that if there's a gap, you can shoot through it. So no heavies yet. Oh, I see you. Whoops. Get up a little bit. There's a bigger guy right there. Yep, right there. A little bit of lag here. Okay, so that was fine. Let's go ahead and look around, see what we got. Yeah, 9 tails. Problem is you have so many players running around 9 tails armor now. The looting is always good in these. I found that the best looting in the game so far is around ArcCorp as far as like weapons go. So that's a Kareah, which I was thinking were pretty rare, but I've started finding them pretty often that I'm not grabbing them every time I see them. They're decent guns though, so they're better than the submachine guns like that right there is a Custodian, that's a submachine gun. One problem is the second you win the mission, they'll start despawning real fast. So if you see that elite guy has spawned, grab his body before you start shooting people and throw it on the elevator, then it'll stick around. Because if you don't, it'll probably despawn. I'll kind of show you what I mean when I'm going back. You'll notice that even in the time it takes me to go back, people will already be disappearing. So there's Devastator. There's another Karna right there. That's what I mean by the Karna used to be kind of hard to find, but like I think only Grim Hex carried it in the old days, but now on any of these missions you're almost always guaranteed to get a Karna. So there's an FS9, also a good light machine gun. Another Custodian, kind of useless. Eventually that weight will matter. Occasionally you can get elite guys spawn back here. It is rare, but it'll happen sometimes. There's a med loot station, don't need that. We'll just check in here and see if there's any dead guys. Yeah, so he doesn't spawn every time, but I would say vast majority of the time the elite guy spawns here and you can get that armor. If you're just a little bit patient, you can get that armor. Can I stack that? That would be nice if I could stack that. No, can't stack it. I'll grab another gun too. Sort of see that the small container, large container right on top of each other. Looks like it's the same makeup as the last one. Where's the Karna? Nope, doesn't have any Karna ammo. Oh well. Another little trick is that you can bring in a cargo container. Medium one, you can usually get them at the cargo stations. The cargo centers on various stations. But yep, no elite on this one. So showed you how to do it, but unfortunately the guy we were looking for is gone. So you can sort of see the two bodies have already despawned. So if you walk in and you see one of those elite guys is dead and laying on the ground right when you walk in the door, grab that body and put it on the elevator. Once it's on the elevator, or once you interact with it, it shouldn't despawn. That's not 100% guarantee. Again, alpha, but it's a possibility. So the other version of the station you can get is sometimes you'll come in up there and sometimes you'll come in back here. This time we came in from over here. There's 3 versions of this station right now. That will be changing pretty soon. He always spawns right there. So you will find his body right there almost every time if he's been killed, or you'll see him sitting there with his light machine gun. There weren't as many loot boxes this time. There's only those 3, unless I just missed them because I was blabbing. Yeah, I mean, plenty of the medical ones, but I don't need a medical one right now. Do need some water, that's for sure. So, let's pop up, we'll drop off this Karna. I'll see if there's another, mission. If this ends right now, then you know there wasn't. If you see me going again, there was, and we'll do another one. These missions, you can kind of bang them out really fast. They don't pay super well, but they are kind of fun, and they kind of scratch that PvP itch. So, I mean, eventually the AI will be a lot less of a joke. Like, you can notice that guy was walking up on my flank and didn't shoot at me. Eventually he'll be providing cover while his friend flanks me, and you'll just get reamed by him if you try what I did. I assume they'll have different levels of guys too. That is not what I clicked. It's not what I meant to click. Alright, try this again. So, turn that sideways. Come on. No, not my pants. The gun. There you go. There we go. Okay. Do I have water? Take this off, put that in there real quick. I do have water. That's good because I'm just doing a fancy jig. Drank. What? Did remove my helmet. Oh, it's not loading up yet. Okay, wait for it. There we go. Little bit of lag. I was okay. Get off of that. Drink. Come on. There we go. 30% water, y'all. Hydrate. Yep. No, no, no. No, no, no. No, 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 no. Keep going. There we go. Chug that thing. Chug it. Chug it. It should get me about 80. Yeah, we're good. Okay. Now I gotta remember to put my helmet back on. Wait for it. There we go. I just realized that I'm doing Hurston missions with a Hurston Elite Armor helmet. It's probably a good thing this AI isn't smart, because they would be looking at that and kind of going, how did you get that, buddy? Definitely didn't loot one of your friends, that's for sure. I looted one of his friends. Put that there. This is always kind of a dumb thing to do when you're just sitting on the ground in a non-armistice zone. Eventually they'll all be non-armistice zones. And eventually the MFDs will be savable and you won't have to look for that little tiny menu button. Okay, so let's look at this real quick. See if we got another bunker mission. If we don't, I'll call it here. So that's right, it does show up under attempt to breach the site. So this one might work too. So let me try this defense one. Oh, did it just go away? Assist in defending a site. No, no, no. This is it. This is what I'm looking for. Okay, so yes, I want that one. So we got that up. Let's bail out of here. Okay, so I'm back. So this one is at HDSF Hiram. I don't have all of the security areas memorized yet. I think I've had luck at Hiram before as far as a place to get the elite armor. There's another one that is just Hurston Security Fortress or whatever, and it's kind of over by Lorville over there. Yeah, I think that's another one that I've seen the elite spawn at pretty reliably. All right, so let's fly on down. So eventually, one of the things that they've talked about is with the new scanner system, new scanner radar system, you can actually be occluded. So right now, flying low, there's absolutely no advantage to it. You fly slower and doesn't really serve a purpose. Eventually, flying low, you'll be under the radar. So, like if I were on the other side of those mountains over there, and you were sitting at this station, you wouldn't know I was coming until I popped over those mountains, like going full Wild Weasel, which eventually that'd matter. Whereas right now, you'd be able to see my dot was coming and totally be able to prepare for it. But anyway, here we are at Hiram. So cross your fingers. Let's hope we see an elite. It's the exact same mission. If I remember right, this one brings you in on the top, so slightly different layout. But you'll see that if the elite spawns, he'll spawn in the exact same spot. So I'm gonna go a little bit over here because I remember that the cacti on Hurston are deadly. I do remember that. There we go.
Engines off.
Usually don't shut off my engines on Hurston, but I don't know. Reasons. Alright. Let's pop inside. So I like to give it a couple seconds on the last step here on the Band Defender. For whatever reason, if there's lag sometimes on that last step, it's a hell of a doozy. It'll straight up murder you on that last step. Here I'm shooting. What is this? Someone died here. So you see this crate, when your ship blows up, it can spawn this crate. The thing is, I can actually loot it. I'm not going to, it's kind of a dick move, but I do want to see what he's got in there. So there's mine spawning in. I could just grab that whole thing and put it in my Defender. We'll see. Well, it's not showing up. Yeah, this is kind of a bug. We'll check it on the way out, provided it doesn't blow my ship up. So what probably happened here, this is a Cuddy Black. He might have landed on this. Well, no, that wouldn't have actually caused it. He probably shot a good guy in there going after the elite armor, or just shot a Hurston security guard on accident and got a crime stat, and then the turrets opened up and destroyed his ship. Easy to do in this game and easy to do on this mission. Kind of going back to that crime stat thing. But it's already claimed one ship. I don't want it to claim mine. Uh-oh, this could be a problem. Oh no, I think I clicked surface level. Not a problem, I'm just dumb. Which is a problem. It is a problem that I'm dumb. So I tend to like to start with something a little bit long range when I first get in, just because sometimes there can be guys spawning like right in the entrance, kind of walking forward. You can also pop a bunch of guys before you really get into the base, which is nice because at the moment their limitation is here. Keep in mind that is a short-term limitation. Like they are right now, the whole planetary nav mesh is only at the Reclaimer Rec sites. It's going to be game wide, so eventually not only will they be able to walk up here, they'll be able to go up, get on the elevator, go up to the top and start shooting at you with those turrets. So you see we've only got one good guy here. This could be problematic. You can also see that now we're coming in from the side. So last time we came in from over, that could be a problem. So the elite guy spawns right down there. There's a dude. Yeah, so the security guard screwed up this time. So, yeah, usually the security guards will kill one or two of them. This time they killed Jack Diddley Squat, so that's a problem. That means all 10 of these guys are ready to rock. Like I said, a little derpy. The problem is that since they were so effective, the bad guys were, the Ninetails were, that the elite security guard has probably already spawned and despawned, so he would be right there. He's not there right now. So if you come in and you're not seeing him right there, if you're only looking for that armor, probably just cancel the mission and go do a different one. Yeah, so that's just a regular Hurston guard right there. That's not the elite dude. That was close. Okay, I might need to start paying attention here. Come on. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. Not that one. Thank you. Thank you. I want the heavy gun. Well, the assault rifle. I guess it's not heavy. Okay, so we're down 3. Actually, he's got an FS9. That is a nastier gun for this kind of stuff. Wait, was that a shotgun? Nah, never mind, never mind, never mind. Okay, the lag worked in my favor that time. Hopefully it doesn't teleport the gun to me. Okay, look around these crates, make sure there's not a dude. Whoop. Ooh, good thing they are being derpy. Okay, I'm gonna swing down here and check. Just that's the second time it's spawned. That's the second time it's spawned a bunch of guys right behind me as I just go up. Definitely not me killing their friends. That's what you think. Okay, got him down to 3. Did I see another guy come from down there? Damn. It almost always spawns them in the room up there. Okay, so you just saw a guy right up there. Really kind of throwing off my usual game, having them spawn so many down here at the lower level. Maybe I've just been getting lucky. Or complacent. Happens. Oh, there's a dude. A little risky because a dude could be coming down those stairs. One left. Nothing. Little lag. There goes. Alright. Now let's run around real quick and see if we can find an elite dude. I don't think we're gonna get lucky again. Of course, we didn't kill any good guys because there were no good guys here. Man, they were almost all on the ground level this time. That is really unusual. I mean, some of them came down the stairs, but still. Yep, good guys are already despawning. So that's too bad. So it made a liar out of me on 2 of these. Doesn't even look like the good guys spawned in, or they've already despawned. You don't have a lot of time once they start dying. You can see that there's no bodies of the security left, so they're not persisting very long. Well, there's one security guy right there. Alright, well, we'll just see what they got for loot. Which is weird, so I wonder if they realized that a lot of people were grabbing that particular armor and they're like, okay, maybe we need to make the elite guy a little more rare than we have been. And they did. Could be what happened. Well, let's look in the medical box. But anyway, that's how you do it. You just come down here. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. And you find him, and he's dead. Then grab his body immediately, have a tractor beam, always have a tractor beam in these things, and throw him on the elevator. Once you interact with him like that, he'll persist. Is that one in the corner? Now, I always see that, I think it's a black box for a ship, like not one that you can actually interact with, it's just the model. But, yeah, I already did a sweep on that one. Anyway, yeah, grab the body, put it there, and you'll get that armor. Then you can just sort of fly up into space and loot his body at your leisure. That's kind of the general idea. Anyway, that's about all I got for this time, so there, my first, what did I say I was going to call it? Musings. I hope you found it amusing. See me next time. Actually, we're back. So, this guy hasn't come back yet. Which means he's probably in Klesher, which, again, probably the next playthrough. I might do this tomorrow or might do it later in the week. I'll talk about Klesher. If he hasn't come back for it yet, I'll take it. One of the reasons that I like the Banny Defender is you can do that and throw a large box in there. If it's a large box, typically it's a backpack. Kind of sucks for that dude. I feel bad doing this, but I'm guessing probably what happened is he came out, saw his ship was destroyed, and went, screw this! Or he had a crime stat and he just went to Klesher. So we're going to take off. We're going to go into space. I'm going to see if I can break this box open. And if not, we'll call it a day. So the way you do a half jump, we haven't done one before. You start it. And then you immediately hit B again. So right now I'm kind of in no man's land where Hurston is far enough away from me that you're not going to find me here. Even pinging around, the only way you can find me is by dropping out the right space. So if you're not a PvPer and you kind of want a moment of quiet, it's a good way to do it. So let's go here. Or if you are a PvPer and you got a friend with a Manus, this is a great way to grab people if you can put yourself in a good location. So we'll see if I can get this thing to spawn up. I'm real curious. If not, I might just log out with this thing and just sort of see what it calls up next time. It might just be bugged, which happens. Yeah, it's an endless loading thing. It can happen a lot with these big boxes. I've kind of noticed that never-ending spinner can happen. So let's do this. And this server has kind of been showing issues. Hopefully this doesn't bug out my defender, but we'll find out. So let's go to Everest Harbor. We'll log there. And we'll call it a night. And if I remember, I'll show you what's in the box in the next episode. So stay tuned. Like and subscribe to see what's in the box. Don't make that dirty. See me next time.
Put this together. And then I remember we chatted about it, Paul, didn't we? And Paul just went, far too obvious.
I don't know. I'm not even sure I showed Chris. I don't know.
No. You gotta come to things like that space in the center holistically.
Well, we quite quickly got to the. I'll just show you the next version. We got to quite quickly.
Absolutely nothing from Gavin.
Just whenever Gav's heard that.
All right, and credit where credit due. I stole that pun that Gavin ignored from Don Steeler in the chat. So if you want to hate somebody, all right. As Don Steeler Gaming says. Certainly sounds like a tough problem.
Nice.
Don't blame me. Blame Don Steeler in the chat.
We try our best to make our LODs unnoticeable, and you know,
there's a lot to keep track of.
Yeah. Nice one. Did you just steal that joke from the chat?
Yes, I stole it from Don Steeler. I always steal my puns from Don Steeler.
You're not getting away from me, man.
No. I've called it out before. Okay. Don Steeler is in chat every Friday just to provide me with the worst puns possible, and I steal them freely.
Would much rather finish a ship and put it out than have to kind of keep jumping on and off and on and off it. And that ship got parked a reasonable amount of time ago. When we came back to it, we realized that our standards had changed in terms of some of the way we approach things, and metrics were much more important than what they may have been. So there's been a decent amount of effort putting into bringing it up to how we would expect it to be now. But it's getting pretty close. Got a couple of artists just finishing it off.
Okay. Chat says you might say it got put on hold.
That'd be the whole D, wouldn't it?
That was Don Steeler. It wasn't me.
Do I have a problem?